All right, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. Looks like my mic is operating well. Welcome to Wild Apricot's Expert Webinar Series. We're thrilled to have today's expert webinar presenter, John Hayden. John is quite literally one of the most sought after nonprofit digital marketing experts and also the author of Facebook Marketing for Dummies. So John, I'm just going to unmute you and welcome for joining us today. Hi, John.
Hi, I'm here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I am too, yeah. And just before we get started, I want to let everyone know this is actually a pretty special and recent announcement. As of today, these expert webinars that we host have been certified by the CAE, meaning if you are interested in getting your certification from the American Society of Association Executives, they have a program called Certified Association Executive Program where you can earn credits. And these webinars, so this webinar today as well as future webinars, can earn you 1 credit. So that's super exciting. If you want to learn more, there's this link here, whatiscae.org, and Terry's going to share that with you momentarily. And for everyone who is having trouble calling in to the US number, it has changed to 647-307-1001, and we will update the slide as well as share that in chat. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Lori Smith. I'm the community manager here at Wild Apricot, and helping us out on chat, and he's actually brand new to our team, this is his second week, is Terry Ibel. And so Terry's going to help you get set up. If you have any technical difficulties, he'll help you out, and he's going to be sharing some links. So I still see some people logging in. They're coming in fast. Thanks, everyone. So while people are just getting set up, I just want to go over some quick technical details for you. So you should be seeing a control panel, and if you aren't, you're going to want to click on that red arrow button, and that's going to open up your chat box. And we're going to be taking questions throughout the presentation, as well as at the end. We'll save a good 10 minutes or so, or a good chunk of time at the end for your questions. But we're also looking for your feedback throughout the presentation. So we like to make these interactive. We want to hear what you're thinking. And I've already spoken to John. He said it's okay, I can interrupt him while he's talking to pipe in with some good questions. And we also have a Twitter chat happening. So if you want to join us on Twitter, if you prefer using Twitter, you can use the hashtag webinar chat hashtag. So you can see that as well at the bottom of this slide. So join us on Twitter too. All right. And again, a lot of people tend to have trouble hearing us, so we put this slide in. Often what's happening is that the actual volume on your computer might be turned down, so we can't actually control the volume on our end. So if you're having problems hearing, even on your phone, just turn the volume up on the volume settings up on your computer or phone, and that should make a big difference. All right, and finally, a lot of you ask if we will be sharing this recording, and the answer is yes, of course. We're going to send out a follow-up email tomorrow, and you can also find it on our website. If you click on the community section and go to expert webinars, you'll see recordings there as well as upcoming webinars, and you can download the presentation from SlideShare or view it on YouTube. So we'll be sharing all of this in an email, and for those attending, you'll also get that proof that you've attended, and so you can claim that CAE credit. So great. And now I'm very excited to introduce John Hayden. So John Hayden helps nonprofits and associations with social media, but I would have to say his best knowledge is probably in Facebook. I don't know if John would agree with that, but I know he really specializes in Facebook. So we're excited he's going to be talking about that today. He has an incredible website that you should definitely check out. It's called johnhayden.com. He does consultation sessions. He has this hump day coffee break that he's going to tell you about. That's a great chance to just consult with him. Training, and he's got an amazing newsletter that I signed up for, and I always find it tremendously valuable. So you can visit his website, sign up for all this stuff, see what he's got to offer. And of course, he's one of the main authors of Facebook Marketing for Dummies, which I thought was quite a brilliant move. He promotes this book, or how to get it, on a Facebook page that Terry will also share in chat. So basically, we're really huge fans of John here at Wild Apricot. He shares our content all the time. Thank you, John. And he truly is the expert when it comes to Facebook. I don't know anyone who knows as much about Facebook as John Hayden. So we're excited to learn from you, John, and see what you have to say today. So on that note, excuse me, going to pass presenter control here, if I can find it. There we go. And John, just everyone bear with us for a second. There's a bit of a delay. And there we go. All right, thanks.
Are we good?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Everybody can hear me?
I can hear you great.
All right, great. Excellent, excellent. All right, great. So welcome everybody, and thank you so much, Lori, for the incredibly generous introduction, although you did not mention that I could ride a bicycle backwards, but that's okay.
Right. I meant to mention that because I was very impressed by that. Apologies.
Well, yeah. You know what? Wait till I get the unicycle, because that's something that I'm always working on and off, mostly off, but when I get that done, then I'll let you know, and you could let everybody know.
That's
John
great.
can ride a unicycle too.
I'm very impressed. All right, thanks.
All right, excellent. So today, and welcome everybody. I really appreciate that you've taken your time out of your day. I'm going to make this worth your time for sure. This training session or webinar is intended to give you specific things that you can put into action right away and get more results, whatever those results are. Okay? Now the agenda is this, really starting at a baseline level. We're going to talk about Facebook groups versus Facebook pages, some of the key differences, and I'll show you some specific strategies and tactics to use Facebook groups to boost member engagement. And then we're going to transition over to the topic of Facebook marketing in general, which is we're going to talk about, is Facebook a waste of time? How much time should I invest in it? Don't build a house on rented land. I'll talk about that when we get there. And we'll talk about mixing your Facebook page and your website, basically strategically approaching both in a way that's going to allow you to get your message out, engage your members in a much bigger way than if you did either one separately. Right? And then we're going to talk about building your fan base, key ways to build your fan base, and building a solid foundation for your website, specific things, again, that you can go back after this webinar and you can start doing these things to start moving the needle on Facebook for your website and your Facebook page and your Facebook groups. Okay? So, and Lori, if anybody has any questions along the way, if there are a lot of questions that give you the idea that, oh, I don't think John is clearly explaining this thing, then definitely interrupt, okay? If it's a more general question, maybe we can hold that for the end, but I'm sure you're, feel free to interrupt anytime.
Okay,
what I'm trying
will
to say.
do.
All right. So let's talk about Facebook groups versus Facebook pages first. Okay. So this is a point of confusion for a lot of people many times. Now, so groups versus pages. Really quickly, here is an example of a Facebook group, actually a nonprofit, not a membership organization, but a nonprofit. So Donda's House is a performance arts education music. They do music, lessons, instruction. It's a music school or music organization. And they use a Facebook page to engage supporters and promote their nonprofit, right? So they're using their Facebook page to keep their fans, keep their supporters, email subscribers, donors, volunteers, to keep them in the know and keep them engaged. And they want to give them really great content that they can share with their friends, right? So the purpose of this is really, you could say it's marketing communications, right? But they also have a Facebook group where students of the school can connect with each other and stay in touch before and after the sessions that they get involved in, right? So we can see one fundamental difference here is that pages are really a marketing tool and groups are really almost exclusively intended for your people to connect with each other, okay? So let me give you another example here. So this is a Facebook page. Most of you are familiar with a Facebook page, so I'm not going to dive in too deeply on the specifics of a Facebook page. I'll show you a few things later on. But from at this point, let's just assume that a Facebook page is really for the purpose of us to promote the organization, to promote our association, to promote our membership organization, and really recruit new people. Right? Get our current people talking to their friends about us and so forth. Right? So this is a page. It's really explicitly intended really to market, to do social media marketing on Facebook. This is a Facebook group. So this is a Chamber of Commerce Professionals. This is a closed group on Facebook. In fact, most of the groups on Facebook that I found that associations are using they tend to be closed. And the reason why they're closed is, well, first of all, what's a closed group? A closed group is where the content isn't visible, but the people are. So the members are visible, right? So anybody who's logged into Facebook and has not joined the group, they can see the members, they can see the description of the group and what the purpose is and what the mission is, but they can't see the content, they can't see the discussion. And that's precisely what the purpose of a Facebook group is for, is to enable the members to connect with each other and share resources. And in some sense, your organization is there as a support system, to make sure, to moderate, make sure that people are connecting with the right resources and getting what they need, and that questions are being answered, and that new members in the group are being properly introduced, that you have a kind of a policy for that, right? So let's talk about just again, some of the features, I guess, features of Facebook pages and groups, just so that you're really clear in your mind as an association communications professional, or you want to connect with your members or promote your organization. These are the key differences. So the strategic value of a Facebook group is to provide a place for connection, period, end of discussion. This is not at all a place where you're going to be selling your stuff, okay? That is where pages happen, right? So pages are specifically intended and made for people to do marketing, businesses to do marketing, nonprofits to do marketing, associations do their marketing with a Facebook page, right? Now the voice, the fundamental voice of the group is the community, people. Everyone is equal in a group, in a sense, right? Everyone's equal. There's no one who has control, like a brand or anything like that, that has the big voice that's telling people what to do. The people are sharing. The people are posting and connecting with each other. So the people are running the group. That's the community. The voice of the page is really the brand. So even though you might post an update on your Facebook page that is, let's say, a picture from the latest Avengers movie, and you're excited about this, and you found some way to connect it to your association, and you say, hey, check this out, are you going to go see the new Avengers movie? Great. But you're still speaking as a brand. Even though you're coming across as a person, the tone is more of a person, which is great, but the voice is really a brand. It's the Facebook page who's publishing that update, so that's really a brand voice. Content distribution, with a group, it's totally controlled by the members. So in a group, when a person joins a group, they can set their own notifications on who they're going to see updates from, either all members of the group, nobody, they don't want to have any notifications at all, or updates from friends, notifications from friends. Now Facebook by default has groups set that when you join a group, the updates are by default, you're going to get notifications on those until you decide that, hey, this is too much. I just want to see updates from my friends who are also members of the group. Okay, so there's some control by the members, but the content distribution is not actually affected at all by newsfeed algorithm. That's the great thing about groups. Okay, now pages is the page content distribution. Excuse me, on a Facebook page is totally controlled by Facebook's algorithm, and some people are very familiar with this. This is where Facebook has kind of decided what is going to get more visibility and what's not going to get visibility on Facebook, and that's really pertaining directly to a Facebook page, not so much a group. Okay. In terms of privacy, groups can be public, closed, or secret. Now this is a critical point here for associations, membership organizations. It's really important to step back and say, what is the purpose of our group? Is it to is it to promote our organization? If it is, then change your thinking, please. Is it to create value for the members, to provide a resource of connection for our members and around specific topics that they're most passionate about, and that actually connecting with other members would be really valuable, right? I want to learn from other members how they're overcoming these challenges and dealing with these specific problems that many people in our association have, right? Connecting with other members, that's so critical. So we have public, we have closed, secret. So secret is where you can't, a regular Facebook user who's not a member of the group, they cannot see, even if they're logged in, they can't find the name of the Facebook group, they can't see the members or the content. It's completely private 100%. Okay. I usually recommend for associations, membership type of organizations, I usually recommend a closed group because that way there's some privacy around the discussions and only members are privy and have access to those discussions. If your organization is more where it's very, very sensitive information, and I can't think of an association type of organization, but I've worked with organizations that deal with childhood diseases, childhood diabetes, cerebral palsy, a couple of organizations like that. And of course, discussions about how to help your kid and the problems that you're having, you want to have not only the content secret, but maybe even the people secret. So you have to consider your specific membership, right? With a page, everything is public. You cannot change that at all. That is the default setting on a Facebook page. In terms of the audience, in terms of who can connect with a group versus a page, the admin of a group has control over who can join. And it depends upon public, closed, secret, and admin has control about, well, people have to be approved before they join the group and so forth. Okay, so there's some different controls around that. With a page, anyone can like a Facebook page. Anyone who's joined Facebook can like your Facebook page. There's nothing stopping them, and they're friends. So your main audience on your Facebook page that you're mostly concerned about from a strategic standpoint, a marketing standpoint, is really providing value to your fans or entertainment so that they naturally like, comment, and share that update, your updates from your page. And of course, who sees that? Their friends are exposed to your organization. So a Facebook page, you can kind of say that it's really word of mouth. It's the word of mouth social media tool that exists today. That's the Facebook page. Okay. In terms of metrics, the downside with a Facebook group is that there is no analytics at all. Of course, you can measure traffic to your website from a Facebook group, and that's all fine and good, but you can't really measure the interactions and which updates are getting the most likes, comments, and shares in a group. Because again, the purpose of a group is not for marketing. It's only for connection. So really there's no use for those sort of metrics. Those are much more relevant to a Facebook page. You publish an update. And a lot of, honestly, a lot of content marketing is about testing, experimenting. The more risk adverse you are, the less successful you'll be with social media, just as a general statement. So you have to try and test out what's going to get a reaction, what is going to be valuable, what's going to get our people talking. And of course, you test that out over time, and Facebook Insights will show you exactly what's working and what's not working, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Facebook ads, no, yes, and I can discuss that a little bit more later. Okay. So, Lori, any comments or questions at this point?
Yeah, thanks. There's actually been a few questions coming in about what is the difference between a LinkedIn group and a Facebook group. And I know this presentation is not about LinkedIn, but I thought there's so many questions about that we might discuss, like how you would choose between the other, one or the other, and what you see as maybe the main differences or advantage of using Facebook, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay. So what I would say is the fundamental difference is that the communities are different. So Facebook is the everyday person. Facebook is basically everybody. That's how you can think about it. That's the audience. It's everyone. LinkedIn is not everyone. LinkedIn is professionals. And also the discussions that you have on LinkedIn, it's more of a professional tone. Okay. So the answer really lies in, what's your audience makeup? Are they more of a professional, they put their tie on, they go to work, or are they much more casual and much more, are they much more open to kind of going off topic in different ways and having a more intimate, more casual type of connection with each other? The second piece I'll say about that is to look at your own behavior. How often are you yourself really digging down into a LinkedIn group and saying, wow, this is such a great community, such a great discussion? Is there that, or is there more of, just people essentially spamming a group on LinkedIn, which is more the case than not? Whereas a Facebook group, there's really honest discussion. There's a lot of valuable discussions. The last piece I'll say is that Facebook is much more utilized than LinkedIn. People are generally using LinkedIn to kind of deal with their professional. They put on their professional hat on LinkedIn. On Facebook, they could be in any sort of clothing. Their underwear, their PJs, their swimsuit, their running shorts, their business suit. So these are the fundamental differences between Facebook and LinkedIn. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
I think that was a great answer. Thank you. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for that great question too, by the way, or that great summary of many questions. Okay, so let's talk about how to use groups to boost member engagement. Right now, let's keep in mind, let's remember that the groups are 100% about the members. It's not really your agenda, your marketing agenda. So take off your marketing hat when you're thinking about Facebook groups. And I'm just reminding you here on a slide, groups have 3 privacy options. So public, anyone can join or be added or invited by a member, and this is a rule that can be set up in the admin section of a Facebook group, and it's fairly simple to set up. It really is fairly simple once you jump in there. You can print out this slide and look at the settings along with this slide, and you'll be able to set things up for yourself pretty easily. Closed means that anyone can ask to join or be added or invited by a member, but the content, people aren't really seeing the content. Okay. Secret, potential members must be added or invited by a member, period. End of discussion. It's the ultimate exclusive club. It's secret. Content is private. The people are private. Even the name of the Facebook group is completely private. All right. When I say private, by the way, I don't mean secure. I would never want to promise that anything that you publish on the internet is secure, as we've seen from the recent some news lately coming out of Canada. We're not going to get into that so much. Now, the next topic here, let me just point out some communication features that members can use in the group. So members in the group can post their own events. Hey, I have a thing coming up. And they can also post files, any sort of file, an Excel spreadsheet, a PDF, a PowerPoint, it really doesn't matter. Facebook used to integrate with Dropbox, but they got rid of that feature recently, right? Or I should say I haven't seen it in a while, and it seemed to have disappeared from several groups that I'm in. And then the timeline. So the timeline is that main wall, I guess you can call it the wall, and members can post to a timeline and also comment on other people's posts. So really a Facebook group gives your members, your community, a wide variety of ways that they can interact with each other. And it's really a discussion, you could say it's a discussion forum that's on everybody's cell phone, on everybody's smartphone. You know, I don't know about you guys. When I bought my iPhone, and of course it's the same with Android and most smartphones, guess what? You don't have a choice. Facebook is there. It's installed on it for you, okay? So that really says something, that this platform is so incredibly pervasive, and people use it all the time. The usage of it and utility of it is through the roof compared to other social networks, all right? So let's get a little bit more specific. One strategy is to create a closed group for your core members, to start off that way. And when I say core members, I mean this is really getting into, you know, you want to seek feedback from your core members about your membership association. You know, how can we educate our members better? How can we do a better job? How can we have better events? How can we have a better conference this year? You want to invite in your core members, your core association members that come to these events every single year. Invite them into a core group. Now, this is not an association. This is a nonprofit, but they use this strategy where they have a lot of supporters for the organization, but they only have 173 hardcore supporters. And what do they do with this group? They can go to this group and ask them, hey, we have a campaign coming up, and we need help marketing it. We need bloggers. We need someone to build a website. We need this. We need that. You know, so but it's very, very closed group, but it's only comprised of the most active or the most committed supporters, I guess you could say. Okay. The next thing you want to do, or the second thing you want to consider, is to educate your members about using a Facebook group. So if you do say, great, we're going to start, after seeing this webinar today, we're going to start using our Facebook group to provide more value. We want to really utilize it as a connection place for our members to get value from each other and learn from each other. And of course, we're in the background moderating this, and that's all great. Okay, you want to make sure that your members are very clear about how to get notifications about the group. You can even, this is one for a local Cub Scout group, but all the groups have they're all the same in terms of the features. And members of the group can notify. Do they want to get all posts from everybody in the group? Do they just want to get highlights, the ones that get the most interaction within that group? Or do they only want to see posts from friends that are also members of the group? So each individual member of the group has this sort of flexibility. The important thing is that, I guess, not many people know that this exists. So if you are using a Facebook group, make sure you're educating your members about how to get the notifications that they want in their newsfeed about activity from other members in the group. Okay? And you can also conduct polls in a group. So you can even ask the members, again, putting your organization's marketing hat, take that off, put it to the side, and now put on your member service or customer service hat. And you can conduct polls asking people, what do you think about this coming event, our annual conference? We have a choice of this or this, giving people different choices and getting feedback. If we want to, I'm always in the habit, I want to put the marketing hat back on. I have to. It automatically sticks to my head sometimes, maybe static cling or something like that. But from a marketing perspective, asking these questions is very smart because it says to the members, you're listening, you care, you sincerely want their feedback to create a great conference, as an example. Also, obviously how they answer the polls are going to help you create an even better event, right? An event that's specifically made for them. An event where they say to themselves, geez, it's like they read my mind. Well, what do you know? We did read your mind. We put that poll in the Facebook group, okay? So the bottom line with the Facebook group is you want to create a place that's useful for the members. And I'm saying literally 100% useful for the members. Your agenda should be far in the background, okay? In order to have a group go successful and be successful, it is important to have guidelines. So you'll see here in the National Speakers Association, it's a closed group, and they have a description. This group is a place to share resources and ask questions. You can go and visit this group later. But what they get into is this is not a place for you to promote your own stuff. This is not a place for political argument. This is not a place for hateful speech. They really outline what this place is for and what it's not for, giving you, the association, a framework so that all the members can have the best possible time in the group, right? So create a place that is useful for the members. Do not use groups to promote your nonprofit. That's what pages are for, okay? So some people have had this or heard that, Facebook is horrible. We have to pay to play, and, suddenly everything is disappearing from the news feed, right? I mean, I'm sure many of you have read articles like this, and there's, these are good and useful articles, but of course they're trying to get people to click on the link, so they're going to say, they're going to have a headline like this, which is pretty intense. Okay. Now this really only comes into play with Facebook pages, and I'll get into that in just a second, right? But I do just want to explain from a very high level that Facebook has shifted in terms of getting organic reach from pages. I'm not talking about groups, I'm talking about your Facebook page. Organic reach has declined, and I'll get into that a little bit more detail. But these are just a couple of articles just to give you an example about what people are talking about when they think about Facebook organic reach, right? It's taking a huge nosedive, and yes, it is, but there are exceptions to the rule, and Facebook is not, you have a lot of control over your content, I guess, okay? So Facebook even says less than 16%. At one point they said that less than 6% of their fans, of a page's fans, are seeing content. I mean, there are various different reports that will show some sort of number that's far less than the number of fans that you have. So for example, if you have 1,000 fans on your Facebook page, 160 of them are seeing your content. That's what Facebook is saying. And they're giving the good news. Other people have said 6%. This article right here says 2%. Okay. But of course, this is not true with many Facebook pages. So here's an example, Diabetes Hands Foundation, and they have 50% reach in this example. So basically 50% reach, I'm calculating that looking at the total number of likes, the number of fans, and how many people are seeing the content. That's generally how these other articles are looking at reach. They're looking at the number of fans compared to the number of people that are seeing posts. Okay, so this is an example here. This is 470% reach. This is American Rivers, a nonprofit out west, United States. And so this is 470% reach. So this is an example of showing you how powerful a Facebook page can be. We've all heard the term viral. You know, your post can go viral on Facebook. Well, it can't go viral if it's a Facebook group. There's no such thing as viral when it comes to a Facebook group. But with a Facebook page, yes, something can start to get shared a lot, and it starts to trend and catch on, and lots of people are suddenly getting exposed to your content, even though your fan count is about 25% of the total number of people reached. Okay, 20%. So anyhow, there is always an exception to the group, and there's lots of really great examples out there. But in the end, if you're using a Facebook page to promote your organization, you have noticed that the reach is generally not as good as it used to be. And we have to remember that Facebook is a public company. They're in business, and they will sell you reach, and quite frankly, that's the only way that they make money. Also, remember that they are a public company. Here's an interesting chart here that shows organic reach taking kind of a nosedive since October of 2000. I think this was 2013, taking a big nosedive down to February of 2014. Meanwhile, what do we have here? We have stock price going up. So this is really getting at Facebook has complete control over the newsfeed, and reach will decline. It will continue to decline. Expect it, but there are ways to deal with it. I always tell people right off the bat, don't build a house on rented land. Now, before we get into this, Lori, are there any comments or questions about anything?
Hi there. Yes, I'm actually getting a few questions about the actual setting up of the Facebook page, and this came in multiple times, so I want to make sure we help people understand. So when you're setting up a Facebook page or group, you have to do that as an individual, and there's a lot of organizations, a lot of us are volunteer run or have different people setting these up. So is there a way, I'm assuming, John, that you set up these pages and it has to be one person. Is there a way, how would you manage it as an organization? Do you have any tips on that?
Yeah, so whether you set up a group or a page, you have to set it up as you, the real person. You have to log into Facebook as you, the real person. Don't create some fake Facebook account, because that just creates a lot more headaches down the road. But you log in as your real person. You can either create a page or a group, and with both of them, you can add other administrators. So you can decide within a group, oh, I want to make this person an admin. They can help me moderate the group. The same thing with a page. You can add anyone to be an admin on the page. They can be a moderator. They can create content. They could just simply do ads. There are various different levels with admin access on a page. Now, in terms of how to create a Facebook page, I don't have anything with me today that will walk people through the process, but I will say that my YouTube channel, if you just go to johnhayden.com, I'm sorry, not johnhayden.com, but YouTube, and look for John Hayden. Just type in John Hayden creating a Facebook page, and you'll see a video that goes step by step how to create a Facebook page and why to follow particular steps.
Okay, great. Terry will look that up and share that with everyone. And just to respond, because this did come up a lot, Regina had a bit of a horror story, and I think this relates to a lot of people's situation where they get a volunteer who sets up a Facebook page and then they disappear and the organization has no control over anymore. So just always make sure you get that person to write down the admin or write down that stuff and make someone else an admin, like the info at or someone basic like that, because I know a lot of you are in that situation. So thanks, John.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten an email from someone saying, hey, do you know anybody at Facebook? And, that's not really going to help. You can't really reach them directly for support. And if you've lost access to your Facebook page, it's pretty difficult to get it back.
Yeah.
It's kind of a challenge.
Yeah.
So let's jump back in here. Don't build a house on rented land. All right. So this is really about promoting your engaging members, attracting new members. It's really the whole gamut here, but it's more from a marketing perspective, not a Facebook group perspective. Okay. So let's talk about this really from 30,000 feet. So because we should all be on the same page in terms of what is the priority in our association. This is referring to donors who support nonprofits, the following charts that I'm going to show you, but the same numbers apply to associations. When I say the same numbers, I don't mean the same percents, but I mean the same ratios, okay, the same importance. Okay, so in this one, for example, we see that, how do you prefer to learn about a nonprofit? Through their website, social media, e-newsletter, print, and face-to-face. Okay, so this is a survey done with supporters who support a nonprofit, but with an association it would be the same idea. Okay, so your website really is always going to be your home base. That's why I'm saying don't build a house on rented land. Facebook is not the place where you want to create your central core place where you're engaging people. Your website is always for that, right? And the reason why is because you have 100% control over your website and how you engage members on your website, how you convert new members on your website, how you serve existing members. You have a lot of control around that on your website, right? So your website's always the home base. Social media is an outpost, and it will always be an outpost. It's a place where your people hang out. The members that you serve, it's where they hang out. It could be Facebook, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Twitter, depending upon the audience, right? So social media is an outpost. Always remember that in terms of prioritizing things. Email is still really important. In fact, I've heard it said a few times, unbelievably, that email is dead. No one's using email anymore, and I just have to just totally disagree with that. Is that a lot of people, most people are still using email in order to, in fact, email, you could even argue that email, having an email address, is literally your passport to the internet. You really can't do much online unless you have an email address, right? So email is that critical. It's essentially a passport to the internet, okay? So remember when we talked earlier about this declining reach idea, okay? So what we want to do is the real solution, ultimately long-term for marketing on Facebook, the strategy is Facebook plus your website, not just your Facebook page. All too often I'll work with organizations or associations, and they say, well, help us with our Facebook page. And I look at their website, and there's a lot of problems there, and they have to kind of think about integrating both together, okay? So a Facebook page plus website content, meaning having a website with a blog or useful stuff at least that members can share with their professional friends or their association friends. So we have our Facebook page and we have a website. So having both properties, engaging your community in both ways is going to be really critical. Facebook, as I said before, is where you're going to post content, people are going to like, comment, and share that content, and who sees it? Their Facebook friends. Your website, of course, is where people, on your website, you're getting your most committed supporters, people that are regularly visiting the website, people that are, finding you in search, people that clicked on a link that they saw on Twitter. You're getting traffic in a number of ways: direct traffic, traffic driven through an email, social media, and search. Those are the main ways that you'll get website traffic. And of course, when people arrive on your website, you want to give them, you have very limited time and even more limited attention, or I should say even you have very little time and less attention. And so what you want is you want to take advantage of that. You want to have them join your email list and these other things, which is great, but you also want to have them engage and find your content useful on your website and then share it with their friends. That's going to be really critical. Once you do that, in fact, once you do that, you will see your traffic from Facebook on Google dramatically increase. Well, in Google Analytics, I should say. Looking at your website stats, whatever analytics you're using, you'll see the traffic from Facebook dramatically increase. And I know that Wild Apricot has some analytics tools in terms of where traffic is coming from. So think of it this way. Here's another way to look at it. You have your Facebook page, right? And I said earlier that very few of your fans are seeing your content, engaging with your content, but you have to have a presence there because Facebook is everywhere, and most of your members are using Facebook. So you really have to be, where your people are. That's rule number one with any sort of market. Go to where the people are, right? But when you add your website, what it does is it increases exposure. It basically gets people exposure from your website and your Facebook page posts. So it increases the overall engagement across the board. Now these are general terms in terms of strategy, right? So I can't say, well, your exposure will increase by X%. The point here is that if you're only using your Facebook page and you don't have anything on your website that is worthy of being shared, liked, and shared on Facebook, then you're missing out a little bit on an opportunity, right? So let's talk about building up your fan base, and then we'll switch gears a little bit and I'll share some tactics for your website, specific strategies to improve both, right? That's the goal here, is to give you things that you can actually do right away. So the first point here is to build a quality fan base. And before we get into the nitty-gritty, I just want to say that that people don't use Facebook to connect with brands or nonprofits or even associations. Anything that's not a person, people aren't interested in it. Okay, and the research here, this is from the Pew Research organization in the United States. Why do you use Facebook? And I'm just going to read a couple of these because they're pretty funny. To see what my friends are up to relieve boredom, number 2. Can you believe that? This is probably research from people in the United States, I'm sure. To look at my friends' pictures, to procrastinate, to send individual messages. There's nothing on here that says, hey, to find out what my association is talking about, maybe a little bit about that, but it's really, really far down. The thing that comes first on Facebook are people. People and friends. It's a friend network through and through, 100%, just like LinkedIn is a professional network through and through, okay? The other thing about Facebook we have to understand, and not just Facebook, but marketing in general or communication from your association in general, is that people generally don't trust what you say. Now, don't take that personally. This is just how people work. This is how we are all hardwired, and we've been this way for a long time. So it's not going to change. So 70% of us, according to Forrester Research, these guys are pretty smart, 70% of us trust brand recommendations from friends, but only 10% trust messages from those same brands. Only 10% of my friends trust messages from the brands that I even recommend to them. That's what this is saying. So, for example, I have a pizza place right around the corner, Armando's Pizza. They're not an association, but they're a good example. Actually, I'm a member. I'm a member of Armando's Pizza, so yes, they are an association. But I love their pizza, and I do tell everyone about their pizza. In fact, I'm talking about it right now because it's so good, right? Maybe someday when you come to Cambridge, you can go to Armando's Pizza. But it would be really weird if Armando said, hey, John, you should eat our pizza. I would say, you know what, or maybe if one of my friends heard that directly from Armando's, they might say, I'll make my own decision, okay? Meanwhile, I say, yes, they're the best pizza. And of course, then they'll go and they'll have pizza there, right? So the key is to really get your people talking by providing value on their terms, not your agenda, but on their terms. Now, the first question is, well, when we say people, who are we talking about? Who are these people? The people that are most willing to talk about you, to engage with your website content, to like your Facebook page, to share your page posts, these are, you can call these your community. You could say members, all right? Subscribers, donors, volunteers, members, right? People that you have in your database. the whole point of Facebook, if I could summarize Facebook marketing in 2 slides, it's this. Find out what these people want so they can talk to their friends about it, right? So the point is to get these people talking automatically. Their community, their friends, their acquaintances, their professional connections, whoever they're connected with on Facebook, they are going to be exposed to your organization. This is word of mouth marketing 101, and the research does say that in terms of social media, Facebook is really where it's at in terms of word of mouth marketing. And it's the reason why it's pretty obvious when you think about it. Your friends, if you use Facebook, your friends are comprised of your mom, your next door neighbor, your high school friend, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, kids, grandparents. These are real people that you're connected with, work associates and other people that you've actually met and that you know. That's Facebook. That's not Twitter. That's not necessarily LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, some professional connections, but others are, it's not as strong of a network as Facebook in terms of the ties and what people actually know about each other. Facebook friends are, in the sense, real friends in real life, in a general sense, right? So as you engage your community, they naturally tell their friends. So if you provide value to your members, something that's really entertaining or valuable, they naturally share it with their friends. So this is where we start. We start with our database, getting to know these people. Now, Facebook is great because you can actually use a lot of wonderful tools to analyze your fan base, your current fan base. You can look at demographic information right within Facebook Insights. So this is a tool on your Facebook page called Insights, and you could look at demographic information about your fans, which is all, it's great, especially if you're doing Facebook ads, you're willing to spend money on Facebook ads. This information will be super valuable. This report right here, this information says to me, don't spend a single dime on men. I don't want to market to men at all because they have shown that they really don't engage with our organization. Let's focus on enhancing and building what's working, and that is really women between 25 and 64 who live in the Boston area. That's my target on Facebook. So that's just one example of what you can do with Facebook Insights, and you can get to know your fans a lot by your posts when you publish content, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. Okay. The other tool on Facebook is Facebook Graph. Now this is a default feature in Facebook. If you log in as a person, you can type out, you can actually do search queries that are autocomplete kind of suggested search that Facebook has. So if you start typing groups about chamber or chamber association groups or groups about chiropractors or groups about animal shelters joined by women who like our association. So you can find out what are the most popular groups among your fan base. What are the most popular Facebook pages among your fan base, right? So these two things I just mentioned, a Facebook group, the most popular Facebook group among your Facebook fans, and the most popular Facebook pages, those are really excellent sources for content. In terms of content marketing, you can find a lot of really great information there that's performing really well and simply share it on your page, okay? Here's just another example of Facebook Graph. You can look at that later on. Now, within your page, back to Insights, there's an example of some insights where we can look at engagement. We can look at how each post is performing with each other post, comparatively speaking. The most important metric on Facebook is not reach, just as an aside. Facebook wants you to think that it's reach because Facebook sells reach. Facebook, they say they sell ads, and they do sell ads, but essentially what they sell is reach. They sell eyeballs looking at your ad. That's all they sell. Okay?
Actually,
so
John,
Facebook,
I've had a lot of questions
yes.
come in about that. Sorry, Terry, going to mute you.
Sure.
A lot of people are asking what is reach. So can you just clarify that and define it?
Reach is the number of people who see your updates, and that's it. It's literally just the number of people. So in this case, 62,000 people saw this particular update. right? Now, did they react to it? Did they like it, comment, or share it? That's where we get to engagement. So engagement really gets into liking, commenting, and sharing, and clicking on links, viewing videos, viewing photos. That all falls under engagement. Reach is just when people see something. And of course, Facebook can make people see something simply by manipulating the newsfeed and also taking your money. I'm not. Sounds like I'm really against Facebook ads. Facebook ads are very effective, but if you use it strategically, Facebook ads, you have to use it strategically, putting your content first, your content marketing, and the kind of value that you're creating for members. That is always the cornerstone. And Facebook ads are best used if they enhance that strategy, not replace that strategy. Okay. So yeah, that was a long answer to a short question. Reach is the number of people that see your updates. The number of individual people.
Great, thanks.
All right. So strategically, again, you want to focus on, in terms of your Facebook page, focus on experimentation. Try and find topics that people are going to like. Ask them questions. Closed questions work really well. I don't have a lot of information in this particular presentation about the content on the page itself. But we can discuss that a little bit later. But once you do find something that's working really well, you can embed, you can give that content more exposure. So the idea is, first step, learn about your people. Second step, experiment with content, experiment with posts on your Facebook page designed to kind of engage them in some sort of discussion, find out what they're interested in. What's going to get the most likes, comments, and shares? That's the other way you can look at it, right? And then once you find a post that is getting a lot of engagement, give that post more exposure. So if you have a blog, you can take that update and embed it within a blog post and publish that blog post. Obviously you want to include more than just the Facebook post. You want to write about it and give the backstory, maybe a few bullet points, and then embed the Facebook post into that blog post. What that does is that gives your post even more exposure or reach. More people will suddenly see that because they're reading your blog. And, oh, wow, these guys have a Facebook page too. What do you know? It's pretty easy to embed a Facebook update into a blog, but you do have to have access to publishing a blog like WordPress, right? I always recommend email. Email is really the best way to engage and get your Facebook page off to a good start. If you have a post that's performing really well, I always recommend, include it in your monthly newsletter. Include your best Facebook update in your weekly newsletter or your monthly newsletter. And again, what does best mean? Best means the post that got the most likes, comments, and shares that's also useful and relevant to your people. Okay? That's the sort of update you want to link back to in your email newsletter. Okay? The point is with email is where you really do have almost foolproof reliability. When you send someone an email, if they're still checking their email, they are going to receive that email. Right? It's almost a guaranteed way to reach people. All right? As opposed to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or any social network. It's not necessarily a guarantee that you're going to reach people. But the other thing about email that's really important to remember is that people on your email list are different from people who are not on your email list. People who are on your email list are past the honeymoon phase. They're familiar with your organization, and they've kind of given you a thumbs up to a certain degree. They've gone out on the first date, at least. All right? They may not be married yet, but they have at least gone out on the first date, and that's different from people who are not on your email list. They've joined your email list. They've, become a member. They've attended an event. These are all various things that people do to kind of go past that honeymoon phase. Okay? You can also, if you have SMS or even not, you can use texting to build up your fan base. Now this is a little bit technical, but all the information is on this slide. So you create, in this example, you create a graphic, not this graphic, but some graphic representing your organization and why people should join your page. So I can't think of a graphic off the top of my head, but it would basically be a promotional piece with information about, hey, join our Facebook page. text like username, like the name of your Facebook page, to this specific number, and this is this specific number. So in other words, if I text like wild apricot at wild apricot, and I text it to this number, I will automatically become a fan, right? Make sure that you give them a compelling reason to like the page. There's exclusive content, answers to questions, meeting other members, connecting and getting the latest news about upcoming events. And by the way, if you do have regular events for your association, make sure that you're publishing them on your Facebook page. That's another resource on your Facebook page. And then you can take this graphic and you can promote it at events or on Pinterest, Instagram, or Twitter. At your next event, you can have a big sign that says, join our Facebook page, text like username to 32665. So for example, I liked the Northeast Animal Shelter, and I just texted this. It sends me an auto reply. You liked this page. Reply anytime to unsubscribe. I click on unsubscribe if I want to, and I'm no longer subscribed to the updates. So I'm still a fan, but I'm not going to be getting updates in my news feed. Okay. You also want to repost the high-value content from your page, from your Facebook page, again, using insights, going to your Facebook page and looking at insights and finding out what's the best performing update. Let's give that more love. That's really the point here, all right? So reposting high-value photos on Pinterest, Instagram, Flickr. With Pinterest, you can link back to your original update on your page. Just simply edit that pin and make sure that the link is the link to that specific Facebook page. Okay. So a few more things here, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. So in terms of building a solid foundation for your website, now we talked about our Facebook page. Excuse me one quick second. I'm just going to clear my throat. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about our website. Now, in terms of reach, declining reach that I discussed earlier, this is not the case with websites. So Facebook drives nearly 1/4 of all referral traffic, social referral traffic around the internet. This is 1/4 of it is driven by Facebook. Okay, it's the #1 platform. The highest number of page views comes from Facebook. Okay, so Facebook has not penalized content from publishers like your website and your blog. There's no penalty. Your members share that content and their friends are exposed to it, right? So in the newsfeed, friends are the priority. Friends and the connections that they have are the priority. So the strategy here is to get people to share content from your website with their friends, right? Similar to your Facebook page, but it's in addition to is what I'm saying. So the first thing you want to do with your website specifically is to debug it. And there's this, I'm not going to get into the technical stuff for time, but if you click on this link in the slide, you'll go to a website, you plug in a URL from your website, and you click on debug, and you'll get a list of errors that you can have a developer work on. Some are minor errors, some are not so important, and you can see, how is your website going to perform on Facebook when someone clicks the like button or when someone shares a link in their newsfeed. Is it going to generate that preview photo? Okay, so for example, we have this photo. It's a featured image on this article, and it generates automatically. You click on the link, you grab it, you post it on Facebook, however you do it, and it's automatically going to generate this preview. On your website, make sure that every single link that's shared, and again, I'm talking in the case of a blog, but you might have web pages on your website. You may not have a blog, but you might just have a website with really valuable information on individual pages. Make sure that you have beautiful pictures that people will want to share on Facebook. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not a Photoshop whiz at all, I have no idea how to design anything, I recommend Canva. So Canva is a resource, almost a free resource, where it's very, very inexpensive or free for most part, but they have templates for every sort of use on social media, presentations, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, you name it. You can create it with Canva, and you can make it look really good. So you add these images to your web pages, and you'll find that people will be more willing to share them because you have beautiful stuff on your web page. But also, when they are shared, their friends are more likely to click on that link and visit your website. So that's really what we're talking about here, is getting your core people, your website visitors, to share your content on Facebook so that it links back to your website. Their friends click on those links and visit your website. There's also the like button, which most of you are probably familiar with. Now, the like button is brilliant because, again, as I said, every time a Facebook user clicks the like button, a web page URL is posted in the newsfeed, right? So every time someone likes, it's almost, instead of like, you could say link. You know, people are clicking on like, it creates a link from their own newsfeed to your website, right? And many of their friends will then visit your website.
So
right?
John, I just want to jump in quickly because I know some people might have to log off now, but I see you've got more good slides. So for those who can stay on a little bit longer. For those who have to log off, we see all your there's lots of good questions coming in. So we'll try to answer a few of those in some follow-up emails and maybe pass them on to John. But try to stay on if you can, because I know John's got some great stuff and we do want to get to some QA. Okay.
I have 6 more slides, and I'm going to go super fast. All right. Okay. So if you want to add like buttons to your content, you can simply visit the plugin page, and I've put a link in here. You can just go click on it, visit it, and the instructions are right here. To create the like button, click on Get Code. You're going to have to work with a web developer or whoever has access to your website to add this code. There's also, if you use WordPress for your website, there's a WordPress plugin that's excellent, and it has a lot of additional features that make your website more Facebook friendly. There's a plugin that I personally like called Jetpack, and this, again, is only for WordPress people. But if your website is WordPress, you can use something like Jetpack, which will include all these social features that include Facebook and many other social sites. And then the last slide is that once you are working on your website, creating content that people want to share, and adding those like buttons, adding the comment features on your website using Facebook social plugins, eventually you'll want to know, is this working or not? And that's where you want to use Google Analytics. And Google Analytics has a lot of reports in it. We could spend another 3 hours talking about Google Analytics, but Google Analytics shows you a lot of traffic, basically sources, so you can actually look at network referrals, meaning the social, how is social media referring traffic to your website, and which posts are working the best on our Facebook page, which posts are, and of course you could see that on Facebook Insights, people really love this post, it's a link post from our website, that's all fine and good, but how many people actually clicked on that link and visited your website, and more importantly, how many people clicked on that link, visited your website, and signed up to be a member, right? Which content is really creating the conversions? And Google Analytics is going to answer that $64,000 question. So the last thing I'm going to put out there is that, as Lori mentioned earlier, I have a weekly training that I do every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern, Boston time, and it's free. And it's a hump day. It's called the Hump Day Coffee Break. It's 15 minutes of a specific topic with some slides, very short and sweet. 15 minutes followed by 15-minute Q&A. You can join in one of 2 ways. You can text Hump Day to 33444, or you can simply visit this link. Okay, either way, and you'll join, and you'll start getting weekly notifications. It's part of my newsletter, so you'll get the newsletter on Tuesday, and it will give you the topic for the Hump Day Coffee Break that's on Wednesday. All right? So with that, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. And Lori, do you want to take the lead on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, everyone. I'm going to ask some more big strategic questions because I'm getting lots of more technical questions, and I want to maybe save that for another time, or we'll email some details, or you can join John on his chats to do that kind of stuff. So here's a good question from Gina. So she's part of a networking group, and they currently have over 400 likes by current and past members of their organization. but they get very little engagement. And the problem is everyone's marketing about their own business. So she's asking you, John, what would you suggest? Would a page or group work better? And how do you get people to post the right things to these groups and engage in the right way?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the first thing is to set up a policy, basically a set of guidelines that says this is what the page is for and this is what it's not for. So this is not the place for you to be promoting your own agenda. This is the place for you to learn from other members and share resources and create value for each other and not be so self-promotional. So you can create a policy and just have that within the Facebook group. The second thing is that you definitely want to be active as yourself in the Facebook group, maybe you and a few other people, key stakeholders in the association, and be active in the group and be proactively engaging with members. The last thing I'll say is, again, go back and use your email list and make sure that your members, your current members, know about the Facebook group and that they know the kind of resources that are available there. You may have to give a little bit of guidance at first if your group is, sounds like this group, this is like an example of the Wild West where they've created a Facebook group and they've said, hey, we have a Facebook group, and then of course, what are people going to do? Oh, great, now I can sell my stuff to new people. And unfortunately, it's gotten off on the right foot. So you have to kind of reset the policy or the guidelines with the community, with the members.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point for everyone to hear. And what you said about the email and what you said about the website in general, integrating all these tools are great tips, I think. And that brings me to Laura's question. So what if you use your email, you blast your members to say, hey, we've got this great new group, you should join. But what if people aren't really Facebook users, or in Laura's case, it's an older demographic, they don't really use social media. So how would you actually convince people to come on to Facebook? Or maybe would you recommend that they shouldn't, or would you use a different platform? How do you deal with that situation?
That's a great question. So the great thing about Facebook is that you can learn a lot about your current members. So assuming that you have an email for every member that's current right now, or even not current, anybody that you have an email address for, you can use Facebook to actually audience insights. It's another feature that Facebook has to analyze your current list of supporters, and you can look at how often they use Facebook pages, of what devices they're using. Are they using a mobile device? Are they going in through a browser? And how active are they on Facebook compared to the average Facebook user? You know, how often are they commenting and sharing compared to the average Facebook user, right? And this is a feature called Audience Insights. And I will say that it's interesting because I have a whole training session within the Hump Day Coffee Break on that, and it's a previous recording, but it goes into great detail on taking your current email list and importing it into Facebook and analyzing the makeup of your various different audience segments.
Great. And here's the killer question, maybe to end it all. And everyone, I know you have tons of questions, but we're going to maybe try to do some follow-up to answer them all, or you should join John's Hump Day Coffee Break. But here's the one. So how do you, and I'm very curious to hear your opinion on this, John, how do you convert likers of a Facebook page to actually become paid members of your association? So how do you really use Facebook to get them to actually do a real life transaction or take an action or join or pay up for something? And yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, it may seem really, really difficult to do that, right? Like you're banging your head against the wall to try and, oh, geez, nobody's really becoming a member. We're using Facebook, but yet nobody's really becoming a member. Why are we using Facebook, right? So the problem, though, is that, as I said before, people aren't really using Facebook to connect with organizations, and they're mostly there for their friends, okay? So what you have to do is the other thing is that you have to remember that Facebook users generally aren't willing to pull out their wallet when they're using Facebook, okay? And think about the last time you saw a link in the newsfeed and you said, oh, geez, now's the time for me to start spending money. It doesn't happen that often. What is more the case is when you provide some sort of value, like an ebook or a free webinar or some sort of resource that's free, and then by encouraging people to join, let's say it's an ebook or a free webinar, then now you have access to their email. Email is where you're more likely to convert that person into a new member, right? You can target email messages very specifically to people. The openers, the people that actually show up at the webinar, can get certain emails. The people that don't come to the webinar aren't going to get certain emails. Email marketing is fairly sophisticated. I know Wild Apricot has a great email solution. So the key is to understand that email is much more intimate and much more one-on-one, individual, and customizable. It's that sort of messaging where you're more likely to be successful if you ask someone to become a member. So it's hard for someone, again, the analogy I'll use is relationships, meeting that special someone in your life, right? You don't just say, hey, you can't be at a party and say, guys, I got a wedding ring here. Anybody there? No one? Okay, all right. It's not going to happen, okay? Rather, what happens is you kind of meet someone, you get to know people, you meet someone, you might have some coffee, right? Then you go out to coffee. So that first coffee, that's more about joining the webinar. Well, let me just do a webinar. Let me see what I can learn from this association. Right, that's the analogy there. And then the people that join the webinar, of course, you could follow up immediately and say, hey, if you want more of this stuff, you should become a member. Or if you join today, after this webinar, there's a discount code. You get X% off your membership if you join today. That takes advantage of two things. It's giving that message to the people that are most receptive, right? Most receptive, the people that actually took the time to sign up and attend the webinar, right? Those people, they're past the honeymoon phase. They're not just a casual Facebook fan anymore. They've demonstrated that they're pretty interested in what you have to say. So they're more receptive. And of course, the timing is perfect if you add some sort of incentive to increase the urgency. We only have X number of giveaways that we're doing to build up our membership, or some sort of incentive to promote the membership. So I think of it in my mind. I always think, for some reason, I think of to a canyon. On one side of the canyon is Facebook, and on the other side of the canyon is your is the done deal, the person becoming a member. And what's in between? There's this huge canyon, but there's a bridge across this canyon, and it's called email. Email is kind of the connector, the bridge, the communication that bridges Facebook and conversion, someone becoming a member.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think everything you said, having your website as your home base, emails, how did you put it, passport to your interests, all that is great tips, great strategies. And on that note, I'm just going to unmute our marketing manager, Shiv, who's also online. He's been listening in the whole time, and he's creating a course to help you guys figure out how to do some of this harder stuff, and especially as it pertains to Wild Apricot, how you'd integrate it into your website. So, Shiv, do you want to just tell people what you've got brewing up there? I'm just going to make, Shiv, I think you're muted on your personal microphone. Okay. You see him trying to talk. Shiv, we're not hearing you, unfortunately. Here he's coming into the room, folks. Sorry about that.
Yeah, hey, sorry about that, guys. I was just going to say, John, I think you hit the nail on the head a few times during that presentation. It's really about value. The way I look at Facebook is Facebook's the way to get access to the people that you want to eventually become your customers or your members or your users. And on the platform itself, you're trying to engage with as much high-value content as possible. And once you pull them out of that Facebook platform into your own universe, which is your website, try to get their email with something high value like a webinar or an ebook. And then when you have their email, yes, it's about converting them through. But what a lot of people miss throughout this is they'll start creating this content to engage people, and they really just stop there. And it ends at, hey, let's just keep talking to people on Facebook, and that really becomes make work. Because if you're not achieving the end result of, let's say, growing your membership or increasing event attendees, what's really the point, right? So there always needs to be a strategy. And so we've been doing a lot of this lately. You've noticed with these expert webinars, it's always about high-value content. We've been launching a lot of ad campaigns. We use Google a lot, and now we're also using Facebook and plan on starting using LinkedIn going forward. And what ad campaigns allow you to do, and I know John was talking about, don't do ad campaigns unless you have a strategy. He's completely right, because one of the easiest ways to lose money is to start a random Facebook campaign for ads where you're spending money to get more customers to your website. It really won't work. What you need to do is have a structured way of getting people there. So we've built out this mini course, which we'll be launching with in the next couple of weeks, and it'll be more of a how-to, a step-by-step guide. This is how you set up a campaign. This is how you segment your list. This is how you get access to the audience who you're trying to target, and eventually this is how you convert them on your own website, whether it's a Wild Apricot website or not. So please go check it out, sign up for it, and as soon as it launches, we'll be in touch with the resources for you.
Okay, thanks Shiv for sharing that. And Shiv is really a marketing guru himself, so this will be a great course. And I just want to bring attention to the wonderful presentation that John did for us. Thank you so much, John. We really appreciate all the incredible insights, and I highly encourage everyone to visit John's website because he's always got the latest updates on what's happening with Facebook, and he knows the tool so well inside and out, so definitely join his coffee breaks. And I'm going to put public pressure on you, John. You've agreed to join our membership advisory group to be a guest. Sorry, I was muting some mics there. And that would be great if you join that call because I certainly know there's a lot of questions. So thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you everyone for logging on. And if you're curious to see, learn more about Wild Apricot and how it works, and we recently just integrated with WordPress, went mobile, we have an app. There is a demo this Friday at noon. We encourage you to join that, and that's led by Mark Faccia. He's such a great guy. You should definitely join that. So thank you again. And here's the Wild Apricot team. We really thank you for joining us so much. And thank you, John. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.